I have a learning disability called dyslexia. Because of this, it takes me a little longer to process things like reading, writing, and rich and my sense of direction, like lefts and rights. I got dyslexia is normally biological, but it can be caused by head trauma. For example, I got my dyslexia a from a seizure that I had when I was about when I was a couple months old. It's me. If it's caused by head trauma, it's mainly when you're under one or in your formative years when your brain hasn't fully developed. And it makes sense because it makes perfect sense because it is a learning disability. So so it makes sense that it could be caused by trauma by trauma as well as being biological. It's the crazy thing is, it's normally not recognized within the first couple years of school. Um, the 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 signs that you will see in children who have it, who are not diagnosed yet, are they will become frustrated in the schoolwork because they don't understand why they're getting it wrong, why they don't get get anything. So they'll stop trying in school, and these problems will manifest at home in children with the big tantrums and big like have arguments with their parents. They they'll think they're stupid and have a very low self esteem. The good news is dyslexia is very treatable. You won't get rid of it fully, but you will learn to live with it and learn to and treat the symptoms. It's never too late to improve your language skills in young adults and children with dyslexia. The second point is it's hard to recognize it in babies. For it, for you need a. It's hard. That's why it's so hard to recognize in babies because it is a learning disability. So you need to be like actively learning to figure out you have it. Dyslexia is a disorder in children who might have who, despite of conventional classroom experiences, fail to attain language skills like reading, writing, and spelling. This has nothing to do with intellectual abilities, um, be, because most of students with dyslexia have to be treated by have to be taught by unconventional methods. Like for example, um, how I learned my lefts and rights was this because L is for left hand makes an L, and that's how I learned my lefts from my rights, and I still do this to this day. And my parents found out I had it after I was in first grade when when I started when I was moved out of that school and transferred into a school called Prentice, and that school was a school for that catered more towards special needs students, like students with dyslexia. From Prentice, I learned different tricks and skills to help me figure out how to correct the ways how to spell and how to figure out my left and rights, which I explained earlier, and my social skills. First, I'm going to go over some tricks that I picked up at Prentice. Then I would explain how to do them. The first trick that helped me a lot was cursive because you because all the letters look different. Um, the thing I struggled with the most in spelling was B's and D's because they look the same, just flipped. But in cursive, they look completely different, so that was easier. And when I before cursive, I learned by the bed trick, which is very simple. It's just you make a this, and it's like in the shape of a bed. So you have the head of the bed, and then the bed, and then the back of the bed, and then you go and the B is the right way for but, and the D is the right way for da, and the middle is E. So it's 3 letters, and it's a simple trick. And I already explained earlier the left and right trick that I learned. Um, this trick, left and right, and sometimes I do this if this sometimes confuses me. So I also learned better social skills. Like I said before, I I came from a I came to school. I was frustrated because my self-esteem was very low. I did not. Um, I also have a stutter, which I also gained from the seizure. So talking was hard enough. Um, so I had a low self-esteem because of that as well. I learned a trick that helped me a lot with stuttering. It was, and the trick was breathing before you talk. Like take a deep breath, like, then talk, and thinking about what I say before I talk. This worked well, and because of this, I gained my confidence by by thinking of what I want to say. But it also helps with studying. Another trick that I picked up was talking in a power stance. I've been doing this before this class. This helped me. This helped me gain confidence in my stance and everything else. Um, biology, as well as head trauma, is biological, like I said before. Dyslexia affects the cerebral cortex, which is the left side of the brain, which is the left side of the brain. Um, the side, left side of the brain, which is the side that has the learning and everything else. There are 3 subcategories of dyslexia: visual, auditory, and dysgraphia. Most most of people most of the time people have more than one. In my case, I have 2. I have visual and dysgraphia. Visual is how it sounds. Um, things get tricked visually, like B's and D's. Um, dysgraphia is more of a motor skills. So, for example, when I was in 1st through 4th grade, it was very hard for me to hold a pencil because that has the motor skills like this. So I couldn't make this motion. So I had to have something to, like putty, to put around myself so so it was bigger for me to hold. Um, and then auditory dyslexia is also known as auditory processing disorder. This is where the brain doesn't process sounds and speech correctly sometimes. Um, most people with uh, dyslexia is a learning disorder according to an experiment done by Suzanne M. Adloff and Tiffany P. Hogan. Most most people focus on the phenomenon of the Fiume scales of dyslexia, but this study focused more on the language aspect of dyslexia. For example, the methods that they used were based on different language skills like vocabulary, syntax, and disclosure in dyslexic and non-dyslexic students and people. The result was language skill that the results were that the language skills of dyslexic children struggled more than with vocabulary, syntax, and disclosure than the people or students who did not have dyslexia. Although dyslexia is a biological learning disorder, it can also be caused by head trauma or disruption in the brain in development when you're very young. Dyslexia has actually changed my life for the better because I used to view it as a disability because of the frustration it caused in school and everything. But now I view it more as a strength because it made me the person that I am today, and I really like the person that I become. Thank you. Have a great day.